Hello! Today we'll be talking about how China is taking over the world. First, let's have a look at some proportions. Chinese population has grown over 1.4 billion people. In the pandemic year 2020, Chinese economy managed to grow by 2.3% and is the only major economy to avoid recession during the pandemics. Chinese nominal GDP has reached $15 trillion figure and is only $3.5 trillion smaller than the US's. In 2002, there were 20,000 kilometers of motorways in China. Now China has got 800,000 kilometers of motorways and builds more of brand new roads every year than the rest of the world altogether. Same thing with modern railways. There are more of high-speed railway connections in China than in the rest of the world. President of China Xi Jinping plan is to double Chinese GDP by the mid of this century. If we take on account the fact that China still have 600 million of cheap labor hands after they have already taken 800 million people out of poverty, this ambitious plan can be perfectly materialized. China is also becoming innovative economy. 5G was practically invented in China and is already implemented across the whole country. Chinese people use smartphones and laptops practically for their all daily activities, from ordinary payments, managing their banking, buying tickets, to highly flexible forms of employment. China is not depending on external internet platforms. They are using their own. Chinese people, including their leaders, believe that there are 5 geographical directions in the world: West, East, North, South, and the middle. China is the middle, the global center of the world. Big China plan is to redesign the global order. That means to change of the global supply chains and capital flows from the oceanics into the continental deal. The Chinese leaders studied Mackindor's geopolitical works very carefully, and they made serious and pragmatic conclusions. They have realized that they cannot compete with the US on the seas, so the best way to avoid major blockade of the main supply sea routes is to create New Deal based on the continental domination in Eurasia. This is what the New Silk Road project is all about. Eliminate the USA from Eurasia, a supercontinent inhabited by 70% of the global population. The Chinese believe that Eurasia is the only real continent and the rest are just big islands. So who controls Eurasian supercontinent practically rules the world. China is also expanding into space. They launch hundreds of new satellites every year, including very small nano satellites, giving China an opportunity to control cyberspace in Asia. Let's have a look at the New Silk Road map. There are 2 major road and belt infrastructural projects. First, the most geographically convenient from Chinese perspective, leads from the Chinese heartland through Kazakhstan, Russia, Belarus, to the gate of Europe, Poland. In spite of many political divisions between Poland and Russia, cargo trains from China arrive to Polish cargo ports every single day. China declares billions of dollars to be invested in modernization of existing infrastructure, especially in Russia. Second Silk Road goes through Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Turkey, to the EU borders in Balkan Peninsula. Though it's much less convenient due to very complicated political situation in Central Asia, Chinese authorities are very active in the region. Their main target is to push the US off Central Asia. They know that American projection of power in the region is very weak. Previous President Donald Trump understood those issues. That's why he managed to establish US Space Force and reinforced US militaries. Joe Biden administration plans are to reduce military spendings and make many cuts in the space program. The main agenda of the Democratic president is to tackle climate change and bring more of social justice into American society. That means less capitalism in the USA. They can open bottles of champagne in Beijing. In fact, China is the most capitalist and competitive country in the world. Officially, it's ruled by Communist Party of Chinese People's Republic. In practice, so-called commies are just a group of oligarchic mandarins who are new kind of Chinese aristocracy. They are capitalists, not communists. China is not blowing its potentials away. They are focused on innovations, production and infrastructural developments. Over the last decade, China has used more of steel, aluminium and concrete than the United States over the whole 20th century. It's shocking but true. In 1 year, there are as many brand new apartments being accomplished in China as there are existing in the whole Italian capital city of Rome. That's breathtaking. Chinese Navy is launching more of new combat ships into service than British Royal Navy and French Navy put together. Chinese plan to build 7 modern air carriers comparative to US's Nimitz class. China is also extending their anti-missile capacities all around the Yellow Sea. Xi Jinping recently said that China has got enough defenses to stop American projection of power in the West Pacific. USA cannot compete with growing Chinese power without increasing military spendings and major investments in Central Asia and especially Central Europe. To build new Silk Roads, China must take control over those 2 strategic regions. All Central European countries are members of NATO and EU, but their leaders can perceive United States as not providing enough of credibilities by being not able to react in Europe in case of major conflict is taking place in the West Pacific. If Russia works along with China in some kind of temporary alliance and tries to invade Central Europe while US Navy is involved in conflict against China, then America will have to abandon its Central European allies. That would lead to the end of NATO. So, what America should do to slow down Chinese expansion? Well, it's a difficult question. The problem is that China can wait. They have over 5,000 years of collective history and the United States only 300 years. It creates completely different perception. The Chinese leader often says that China is a big, patient tiger waiting for a good moment to get its prey. Let's remember that China, even though capitalist, it's still totalitarian country. They don't waste their time for weird debates on the third toilet and more rights for LGBTQ+. They are not going to spend trillions of dollars to tackle a climate change. They are going to spend trillions of dollars on further modernization and new technologies. But yes, something can be done. First, US and Europe should build strong coalition in terms of protecting their technologies. It should be organized the same way as during First Cold War within Coordinating Committee for Multilateral Export Control. No shared technological investments in China and Russia. Proper cyberspace security measures. Blow-for-blow policy in case of cyber attacks and spying. Neo-mercantilism. Protection of the own markets from dumping prices and promotion of new consumeric awareness. Don't buy made in China products campaign. Moving most of production out of China in a way of reindustrialization of Western economies. Finally, reinforcements of Central European allies such as Poland and Romania to stop Russian projection of power. Keeping Germany and Russia away from each other to avoid rapid change in the balance of power in Europe. It's quite obvious that German and Russian geopolitical ambitions are against US geopolitical interests. Especially Russia must be weakened to accept junior partnership with the USA. Strong Central Europe is also important in this game. Without closer cooperation with this region, China cannot spread its infrastructural wings in the whole continent. Central Europe and the Balkans is the gateway to the rest of Europe within the Silk Road project. Weak and abandoned, Central European countries will have to choose New Deal with China. It's important to prevent such scenario by major infrastructural investments in so-called Three Seas project. If above-mentioned ideas couldn't work, there would be nothing left but war. Thank you for watching.